All right, so welcome back to my Kansas City Royals series here on Out of the Park Baseball. It is November 6th. It is the offseason. If you saw our September episode last time, you'll remember that we just barely missed the postseason by 2 games. In fact, let's take a look at the standings. If we look at the wild card, it was the Tampa Bay Rays who just beat us out. We had a nice little finish, won 7 in a row to end the year, but it just quite wasn't enough because the Rays were so good near the end. I think we had a tough Minnesota series where we lost 3 out of 4. But anyway, it was definitely a good season, a huge step up from previous years. In the end, the Cincinnati Reds actually won the World Series against the Los Angeles Angels, so congrats to the Reds. But in terms of our team, if we look at the info here, we were 10th in the league in runs scored, and we were 3rd in terms of runs allowed. So that actually surprises me. I thought we were a better than average offensive team, but a below average defensive team. So anyway, that is definitely interesting to see. In terms of a rotation, it was Snell, Arrieta, and Chua who really led the way here. It's going to be hard for me to not keep Chua and Arrieta. I think Arrieta is one more year that's a team option. And if we just look at what he would kind of go for with an extension, it's a multi-year deal. So I definitely would not want to do that. And the question is going to be, should we just kind of let him go, let him sign and get a compensation pick? Or are we going to want to try to see what he can do for one more year? And to see that, we're really going to have to look at the advanced pitching stats. So when I see it, his Ks per 9 have definitely declined. The walks per 9 have kind of stayed pretty consistent. But to be honest, I really think that this was kind of just a fluke year. He was definitely better, but I don't think he's going to come back and be as valuable as he was this year. That BABIP is so low. So what that tells you is there were a lot of lucky outs. Batters hit it right at fielders. That's what a low BABIP kind of means. So I would definitely take him back for $9 million, but the idea that, I could get a compensation pick for him, that sounds pretty nice to me. So we might end up letting Arrieta go. I do think we are going to keep Chua, but I'm not positive. It would be an arbitration type of deal. So let me just see what he wants. It would be about $10 million if we went through arbitration. I think that we would probably want to extend him then, because I don't think we'd get a compensation pick for Chua. So likely we'll keep Chua for one more year. Hopefully he doesn't decline too much, and we'll probably let Arrieta go. Either way, it was great to see Blake Snell down the stretch, pitching well again. Hopefully next year he can start out of the gate pitching well, but you can see really June through the end of the year was a very, very solid pitcher. It was just a rough April and May for him. And that's great to see because, again, he's got a very long-term contract. So anytime Blake Snell can become a number 2 or number 3 pitcher, we're going to be very, very thankful. Eric Skoglund, what can you say? He had a good year. Cody Reed also, seems to be coming into his own, which is great to see. What I would say about this year compared to last year I thought everyone really underperformed. This year, I think a lot of people overperformed. So I'm not really sure that we were an 87-win team. But, who knows? I think that, in general, if we kind of keep our players, they keep developing, we could get back to 87 wins. But I don't think we could count on Arrieta having the same year or Chua having the same year. And I think you could say the same thing about Skoglund. But anyway, in the bullpen, Lovelady had another fantastic season. Bobby Pointer really can't complain. And really in the bullpen, it was just Edward Cabrera, who we got in a trade at the deadline, who just, never really kind of fit in to Kansas City. You can see that he had a 5.17 ERA, but hopefully he can turn it around next season. Offensively, it was great to see some people come out. If you remember, last year, no starter on our team besides Paul Goldschmidt ever reached 2 WAR. Well, this year, it was basically our entire team, so that's great to see. Kapazu, what a find. 46 home runs, hit 278. I don't really know that he's going to do this again, but I think the 46 home runs could stay. He is going to be age 29 next year. You can see that 70 power, so he is certainly a solid player for sure. Paul Goldschmidt had a fantastic second half. He ended up having a 5-win season. Justin Williams, remember, he was not doing well for Kansas City. He must have turned it around. You can see hit 262 for us, so not necessarily great. Actually really not great. Most of his value was in Tampa Bay, but, hopefully next year he can keep it up. I do like his ratings. even if his plate discipline could use some work. And then Vinny Toasty, great first year. You can see a 3-win season. That's all the defense and the base running, I have to say. I mean, 300 on base percentage is nothing to write home about. Nick Madrigal, 40 steals. Still, though, those offensive numbers have got to come up. He is walking a lot, which is good, and you can see the OSA ratings. He's a little bit lower, but, still that 60 contact, 65 avoid K ratings with that kind of speed, he really should be better than 246. So I hope that batting average does come up, but, I guess we will have to see. Giglotti, above average, center fielder. Reese McGuire, average catcher. Tellez definitely fell off, but, he was an okay everyday DH is what he really became. Nicky Lopez was fine. I mean, you kind of just go through, we didn't really have any really bad apples who were starters in the lineup. So that's kind of what I would say is, good enough for me. And, maybe in the offseason we can try and go and get someone. We do have some money for free agents, even if we re-sign Arrieta, which I don't think I will. But I would just say it's all kind of good news because we're going to have a bigger budget next year, which kind of leads me into what our owner thought. So I think he should finally be happy with what we did. We didn't win it all this year, but we should be very happy with the record. He actually says he's sorely disappointed in my performance, so I don't really understand. I guess, okay, so we had a goal of making the playoffs in 4 seasons, so that's why. But anyway, he says he's happy in my performance with the goals and the managing of the team. So anyway, I think we're going to be okay there. And if we take a look at the new budget, we are definitely having a lot more. So yeah, this payroll up about 20 million. So that's why we've got that extra cash. So that is nice to see. We do have our contract extended. It is a multi-year deal. So we'll at least be in Kansas City for 2 more years unless we are fired. We also have some personnel leaving. So Girardi did a great job. He does not want to re-sign with us. I'm okay with that because although I really like, the way that he handled the team and developed the players, it was kind of frustrating not being able to have any control over the lineup and the pitching staff. So I've offered a contract to Terry Francona. He's much more lax about things. So hopefully that helps, at least in terms of us deciding what we want to do with certain players. But anyway, it is now time for arbitration. So if we take a look at salary arbitration, you can see that there's a lot of guys here. So I'm just going to go through this and then we will pick it back up when I'm done offering contracts to different people. All right, so we've skimmed ahead a little bit through the awards. So let's take a look at the MVPs. You can see in the National League, it was Corey Seager, who has been pretty unbelievable for the Dodgers, especially the last 3 years. My goodness. Sano won the MVP award in the American League. I think this is his 2nd straight year. It's also his 2nd straight year and 3rd out of 4 years where he's had 50 home runs. That is pretty darn impressive. Syndergaard won the National League Cy Young. That's also his 2nd year in a row winning the NL Cy Young. And for the AL Cy Young, it was Shohei Ohtani. Well, interesting. Let's take a look at what he has done. Let's see. Major Leagues. Yeah, so wow, he has a torn rotator cuff, but pitched a full season for sure, and he's been good the last couple of years. In terms of batting, he's been fine. He's been a productive player, I would say. Maybe not so this past year as much, and he had a really good age 24 season, but anyway, certainly Ohtani has been well worth it for the Angels. We did sign Terry Francona, and the other thing is that we got a Rookie of the Year, Kapazu, no surprise there. I don't think any rookie. In fact, that's one of the most home runs a rookie's ever had. Maybe like 3rd all time, I think. I'm not really sure, but... And then no Silver Sluggers. Did we get any Gold Gloves? We did. We got Goldschmidt for the 2nd year in a row. Man, that guy's going to have a lot of Gold Gloves. And Vinny Toasty. I bet he is going to get a lot of Gold Gloves as well. Toasty, the ratings, I don't know if they're going down or what, but I thought his batting ratings were a little higher than that. But certainly a productive player, even if he hits way below. I mean, look, his OPS plus was 70, and he was still a 3-win player. I mean, he is just so good at defense and base running. So that is good to see because I think he has some upside as a hitter at the very least. So one thing that's a little disappointing, I had declined Jake Arrieta's team option, and basically I was hoping that I would get a compensation pick out of it. Unfortunately, he was happy to receive 1 year and 15 million, even though he was asking for a 3-year contract that was like 14 million a year. So that caught me off guard a little bit. I don't think we're going to be offering him compensation, but we'll go after him in free agency, I guess, maybe. I don't think he has much left in the tank. Again, the peripherals kind of said that he was pretty lucky, so I don't think I'm going to risk offering him 15 million because I don't really want to pay him 15 million, to be quite honest. All right, so I've simmed ahead a little bit. If we take a look at the free agents, I've offered a contract to someone. I think I might be taking it back, though, like withdraw the offer. Tak Quing Tang looks pretty good offensively. You can see that home run power. He is a fly ball hitter, about age 30. The OSA ratings also really like him, so he's someone who I think is really intriguing. And the contract that I offered him, I can't see it right now, but I offered him 20 million the first year, I think 15 million the next 3 years, and then after that is a team option for an additional year. So it would be a 5-year contract, 4 years would be guaranteed. It's not a bad deal. The thing is, we already have Paul Goldschmidt, who's a first baseman. Not only that, but an aging first baseman. We have Rowdy Tellez, who, isn't good, or isn't great, I should say. But, to be honest, he's so cheap. I don't really know that we should be committing all of this money because what we really need is a starting pitcher. And it's not like I don't know that. It's just there aren't any starting pitchers who are free agents this year, really, who are any good. So I don't really know what to do. I think I'm going to withdraw this offer, but yeah, let's just look at the starting pitchers that I see. I mean, there's John Gray, who's not bad, but he's trying to make 18 million per year, which I'm not going to pay that. At the same time, though, I do want to use up more of my money because I'm worried the owner is going to be like, well, you're not using up all your money. I guess you don't need it. That seems to happen a lot in this year's game. So I got to find a trade for a starting pitcher, and I've been trying to do that for years, but there just really isn't a whole lot of starting pitching talent in this game, to be quite honest. So I think while I'm here, I am going to withdraw this offer. I also offered a minor league deal to this Jalen Beeks. Just has some intriguing ratings, and he's very cheap. It would be a minor league contract, so really no risk there. So I'm just going to keep shopping around. There'll be the Rule 5 draft. Maybe we'll pick someone up there. Who knows? But for right now, I don't think that there are any free agents that I'm actually going to go after. There's just, nothing that really fits our needs. All right, so we have arrived to the Rule 5 draft. We have the 22nd pick in the Rule 5 draft, which means this year we'll have the 22nd overall pick. So if we were getting used to that number 3 overall, it is a rude awakening to see. We will not have that anymore. I don't really see anyone in terms of batters. This Jordan Boyer has some nice ratings, but of course is a first baseman. You got to have pretty good ratings to be any good at all. So let's take a look, see if there are any pitchers here. So as we take a look at the pitchers here, I'm actually going to add Jalen Beeks to the 40-man roster because I would like to keep him. So yeah, in this Rule 5 draft, just trying to look for some skills, and to be quite honest, I don't really see anything. Yeah, anyone that looks good just seems to be good in the head scout ratings and not really in the OSA, which is kind of a red flag for me. So I don't really think I'm going to go with anyone. I think this year, a lot harder to find anyone in the Rule 5 draft. I remember last year I found a really good starting pitcher. This was in the Seattle series I had last year. Really turned out to be very, very good, but I haven't really seen anyone this year. All right, so I've simmed ahead a little bit to basically opening day. I think that we need one more piece, which I think clearly is a starting pitcher. We do have Blake Snell, we have Chua, we've got this guy Beeks, who, remember, we signed to a minor league contract, but I don't really feel too good about really 3 through 6 here. Of course, we'll have a 5-man rotation when the year actually begins, but I think we clearly need to make a move, so I'm going to try to potentially trade Lovelady because I know that he was getting some interest, but I also found a deal with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So this would be for Rowdy Tellez, who I think is clearly a good player, but we have a couple first basemen. Again, sometimes it's not about like who the players really are. It's about what the needs are. And Zach Godley, as the last name suggests, is a good starting pitcher, ground ball pitcher. He's got some good ratings, but the thing that I like is he's had 2 solid major league seasons in a row, especially last year. And those Ks per nine, walks per nine, and especially the home runs per nine have been pretty good for him. So I would hope that he would have a good year for us. I think that would be very useful. He's got a pretty affordable contract during the next 3 seasons, so that's something I like to see as well. I think that this is a deal that we would do, but I do just want to check if Lovelady is going to garner any interest as well. Yeah, so unfortunately, nothing really for Lovelady. He had been getting some offers earlier, but nothing that I can see now. So anyway, we're going to trade Rowdy Tellez for Zach Godley, and then the plan is going to be to move Nick Prado to the majors. He looks like he has very similar ratings to Rowdy Tellez, and obviously he's going to be cheaper, and he's got pretty good defensive ratings as well. I'll probably keep him down in the minors just for a couple weeks to get that extra year of service time, and then we'll be using, we have another first baseman, I forget who exactly. Yeah, Brian Mundell. So, I mean, he's not great, but we'll just keep him up for a couple weeks, and then we'll bring up Nick Prado. So I think this makes sense. It just gives us some more starting pitcher depth. So yeah, it looks like he will slot into the number 2 spot. If we take a look at the preseason predictions, we're projected to be 80 and 82. That would be a little bit disappointing. Again, I just kind of feel like we need a big name starting pitcher, and I would have given money to someone, but there just wasn't anyone, and I didn't really want to throw money at another bat because, again, at first base, we've got plenty of first basemen, so that just didn't really make sense to me. I think this year our batting order is pretty darn good. I just think it's going to be, is the pitching going to hold up, especially the back end of that rotation. So we might have to get someone else, but I think for now we're just going to stick with this, see how it goes, and maybe during the year we'll end up trading someone. But for now, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching this episode, and I will see you at the first year player draft.